Hello and welcome to Really Big Hat. My name is Jared and this is D&D Builds, the show where we take you through building a D&D character step by step. Today's character is the Barbarian-Rogue, an interesting and surprisingly powerful multi-class combination. So let's get started. For our race, I have selected a Bugbear. They have a number of interesting abilities that will really help us out with our build and our power level. So, first things first, we are a humanoid, and we are also considered goblinoid for any prerequisite or effect that requires us to be a goblinoid. Our size is medium. Our speed is 30 feet to start with. We have 60 feet of dark vision. We have Fey ancestry, so we have advantage on saving throws we make to avoid or end the charm condition. We have the long-limbed feature, and when we make a melee attack, our reach for it is 5 feet greater than normal. Very useful. We have powerful build, so we count as one size larger when determining our carrying capacity and the weight we can push, drag, or lift. We also have sneaky. We are proficient in the stealth skill, and in addition, without squeezing, we can move through and stop in a space large enough for a small creature. Then we also have surprise attack. When we hit a creature with an attack roll, the creature takes an extra 2d6 damage if it hasn't taken a turn yet in the current combat. For our starting class, I have selected a rogue. This is mainly for the starting proficiencies, of which we get light armor, simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords, as well as thieves' tools. We get saving throws and dexterity intelligence, and we get access to 4 skills of our choice from this list. I've taken athletics, intimidation, perception, and persuasion, and I have given myself expertise in athletics and stealth. You can select whatever proficiencies you want here. It's one of the great things about starting as a rogue is you get a lot of skill proficiencies, and you can specialize your character however you wish. One thing I would highly recommend, though, is to take proficiency and expertise with athletics, because later on when we get barbarian levels and we enter a rage, we'll have advantage on strength checks, as well as double proficiency on our athletics checks to grapple, which makes us almost a sure thing to grapple a target. It's a very clutch ability. We also get access to sneak attack. We can deal an extra 1d6 damage to a creature we hit with an attack if we have advantage on the attack roll, and the attack must use a finesse or a ranged weapon. And we don't need advantage if we have an ally within 5 feet of the target, and that they aren't incapacitated and we don't have a disadvantage on the attack roll. Later on, again, when we get barbarian levels, we will have access to reckless attack, which will give us the conditions for sneak attack all the time. It's very cool. It's very useful. We also get access to Thieves' Cant. This is mainly a flavor ability, and it's going to be campaign dependent how useful it is. You can talk to other thieves, other rogues, and speak in code. The usefulness of that you will have to discover on your own. For our ability scores, I have gone with a point buy. I have taken the origin option to take a +1 to strength and a +2 to dexterity. I've brought strength up to a total of 16, dexterity up to a total of 16, constitution to a total of 14, left intelligence at a total of 8, and brought wisdom and charisma up to totals of 10. Now, this is also highly up to your personal preference, what to do with the soft stats here, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. You could bring 1 up to 12 and leave the others at 8, or you can bring 2 up to 10 and kind of balance them out. I've chosen to balance them out a little bit more, and if you want to, say, specialize more in investigation, maybe take intelligence up to 10 or 12, or if you want better perception, take wisdom up to 12, etc., etc. This is up to personal preference, and, take what you will. Your background is, as always, completely up to you. More than any other choice, this is one that you really want to look at the options and pick one that speaks to the character that you want to roleplay. I have gone with an urchin. I get sleight of hand, and usually it's stealth, but since we already get stealth from a bugbear, I've substituted that for survival. We also get a disguise kit and proficiency with one other toolkit or an instrument. I've taken cartography tools. We also get the City Secrets background feature. We can get around in a city environment when we're not in combat twice as fast. It's pretty interesting and can come in handy in some certain situations. And this character, to me, is someone who always wants to know exactly where they are, always have an escape route, and they're someone who is always picking up little odds and ends, little trinkets that they like to keep. and that does play into the class progression later on as well, so keep that in mind. So here we are with our starting equipment. I have selected a rapier over the short sword, a short bow and a quiver of arrows over the short sword. I've taken an explorer's pack. We pick up leather armor, 2 daggers, and thieves' tools. And then as an urchin, we get a small knife, a map of the city that we grew up in, a pet mouse, a token to remember our parents by. Remember, this character likes to collect trinkets, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold pieces. So, let's look at our character sheet here at level 1. We have 10 HP, 14 AC. We have proficiency in several skills here. We have Dex and Intelligence saving throws, a passive perception of 12. And if we look over here at our actions, our rapier has 10 feet of reach, which is fun as a bugbear. And we have the feature, once again, surprise attack, allowing us to do an extra 2d6 damage to a creature that has not yet taken a turn in current combat. So, all totaled, we could actually do a d8 plus 3 piercing damage from our rapier, and then 3d6 to a creature that hasn't moved, and that we have gotten a sneak attack against, probably by having an ally nearby at this point. That's a lot of damage at level 1, and it's very cool. So, here at level 2, we are going to start taking Barbarian levels right away. Right off the bat, that gets us proficiencies with shields and martial weapons. Shields is a nice buff to our AC, and martial weapons allows us to use any weapon we want in combat, although our rapier is still going to be our best bet. We also get access to Rage. This is the key feature of a Barbarian. We get it right away. So, we can enter Rage as a bonus action, and while raging, we have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. When we make a melee weapon attack using strength, we gain a bonus to the damage roll that increases as we gain higher levels as a Barbarian. And we have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Now, on the topic of a melee weapon attack that uses strength, our rapier does apply to this. It has the finesse property, which activates sneak attack for us, and that also means that we can use strength or dexterity to deal damage with it. So, all we have to do is select strength, and we get the damage bonus from rage. We also get unarmored defense. While we are not wearing any armor, our armor class equals 10 plus our dexterity modifier plus our constitution modifier. We can use a shield and still gain this benefit. So, this is actually a slight buff to our AC over leather armor, giving us the equivalent right now with our attributes the way they are of studded leather. So with all of those bonuses put together, if we equip a shield and use the unarmored defense bonus, our AC is now 17 at this level, which is not bad at all. Here at level 3, we are going to take another level in Barbarian. So, at second level of Barbarian, we get an amazing feature in Reckless Attack. Starting at second level, we can throw aside all concern for defense to attack with Fierce Desperation. When we make our first attack roll on our turn, we can decide to attack recklessly. That gives us advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength during this turn. However, attack rolls against us have advantage until our next turn. This is an excellent ability, and it activates the parameters of sneak attack for us. We will have advantage on all of our melee weapon attack strikes, and we don't need to have an ally nearby to activate sneak attack. We can do it on our own. This is amazing. It also greatly increases our accuracy, so we don't have to worry about missing as much. And with the extra damage bonuses we have from Rage, Sneak Attack, and Surprise Attack as a bugbear, we can deal a lot of damage already. We also get access to the Danger Sense ability at this level. We have an uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't as they should be. We have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that we can see, such as traps and spells. To gain this benefit, we can't be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. So, not only do we get Reckless Attack, we also get advantage on dexterity saves against anything we can see coming. That's quite useful. This is a good level for us. Speaking of good levels, moving on to level 4 overall, we take level 3 in Barbarian, getting us access to our Primal Path. And we are going to select the Path of the Totem Warrior. This gets us a couple of abilities. First off is Spirit Seeker, where we gain the ability to cast Beast Sense and speak with animal spells as rituals. This can come in handy. This can definitely come in handy. It's not something you want to forget about. But we also get access to a Totem Spirit. Our character's affinity for picking up trinkets and totems, as it were, is finally bearing fruit, and we have found ourselves a bear totem. So now, while raging, we gain resistance to all damage except psychic damage, as the spirit of the bear makes us tough enough to stand up to any punishment. This makes us an incredible tank, as now anything but psychic damage is getting halved against us. Very cool. Moving on to 5th level overall, 4th level of Barbarian, we get an ability score improvement, which I am going to use to improve our strength. Then at level 6 overall, we're going to take our 5th level in Barbarian and get extra attack, which means we can attack twice instead of once whenever we take the attack action on our turn. And we also get fast movement. Our speed increases by 10 feet while we aren't wearing heavy armor. At level 7 overall, we're going to flip back to Rogue, taking level 2. And starting at level 2 of Rogue, we get the Cunning Action ability, where we can take a bonus action on each of our turns to use Dash, Disengage, or Hide. Now, this is something that you're going to want to keep in mind, that these are very useful bonus actions to take, but it's either that or Rage on your first turn, and usually you're going to want to start out with a Rage. But then, on subsequent turns, you can actually dash, disengage, or even hide. I know hiding while raging sounds weird, but you never know when the situation might call for it. So, have at it. At level 8, we are going to select our 3rd level in Rogue. This allows us to pick a roguish archetype, and for this build, I'm going with the Phantom. This gets us a couple of features right off the bat. First, Whispers of the Dead. Echoes of those who have died cling to us. Whenever we finish a short or long rest, we can choose one skill or tool proficiency that we lack and gain it as a ghostly presence shares its knowledge with us. And then we lose that proficiency when we use this feature again to choose a different proficiency. Just as an example, I've selected the bagpipes. Maybe we found a ghost that used to play the bagpipes. But in all seriousness, you can take something useful with this, like investigation, or medicine, or just anything that the situation calls for. You can take Tinker's tools, whatever you want. It's actually a really interesting and useful ability. We also get Wails from the Grave. As we nudge someone closer to the grave, we can channel the power of death to harm someone else as well. Immediately after we deal our sneak attack damage to a creature on our turn, we can target a second creature that we can see that's within 30 feet of the first creature, and then we roll half the number of sneak attack dice for our level, rounded up, and the second creature takes necrotic damage equal to that roll's total, as the wails of the dead sound around them for a moment. Now, if that doesn't sound stupid cool, I don't know what does. At level 4 of Rogue, we get an ability score improvement, and I'm going to use it to cap off our strength score. At level 5 of Rogue, we get a really spicy ability in Uncanny Dodge. When an attacker that we can see hits us with an attack, we can use our reaction to halve the attack's damage against us. And for all that I know, this stacks with the resistance we get from our bear totem. So we can actually take 1/4 of the damage from just about any attack. That is a little bit bonkers, to be honest, and it's very cool. At level 6 of Rogue, we get another instance of Expertise, allowing us to take Expertise in 2 more skills. Select whatever you want here, whatever's going to be the most useful in your campaign. At level 7 of Rogue, we get Evasion, allowing us to dodge out of the way of certain area effects. Whenever an effect allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, we instead take no damage if we succeed, and only half if we fail. This pairs exceptionally well with Danger Sense from the Barbarian, giving us advantage on dexterity saves against effects we can see coming. At level 8 of Rogue, we get another ability score improvement, and I am going to bump up our dexterity. This will increase our AC and enhance our dexterity-based skills. At level 9 of Rogue, we get another phantom feature, Tokens of the Departed. When a life ends in our presence, we're able to snatch a token from the departing soul, a sliver of its life essence that takes physical form. As a reaction, when a creature that we can see dies within 30 feet of us, we can open our free hand and cause a tiny trinket to appear there, a soul trinket. The DM determines the trinket's form or has you roll on the trinkets table in the player's handbook to generate it. You can have a maximum number of soul trinkets equal to your proficiency bonus, and you can't create one while at your maximum. You can use soul trinkets in the following ways. While a soul trinket is on your person, you have advantage on death saving throws and constitution saving throws, as your vitality is enhanced by the life essence within the object. When you deal sneak attack damage on your turn, you can destroy one of your soul trinkets that's on your person and then immediately use Wails from the Graves without expending a use of that feature. Or, as an action, you can destroy one of your soul trinkets, no matter where it's located, and when we do so, you can ask the spirit associated with the trinket one question. There is a lot going on with this feature. The advantage on death saves and con saves is quite useful. The ability to use Wails from the Grave without expending a use of it is pretty useful situationally, and being able to ask a spirit a question can really come in clutch in certain situations. So, it's a really fantastic ability, as our penchant for gathering totems and trinkets has reached a whole nother level. At level 10 of Rogue, we get another ability score improvement, and I'm going to use this to cap off our dexterity. At level 11 of Rogue, we get Reliable Talent. Whenever we make an ability check that lets us add our proficiency bonus, that is, anything we're proficient with, we can treat a d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. This includes the skills that we get from our earlier feature, Whispers of the Dead. So, that bagpipe check from earlier, we're making that at a base of 10 plus our proficiency. At level 12 of Rogue, we get another ability score improvement, and this time I'm going to increase our Constitution. At level 13 of Rogue, we get another Phantom feature, and this one is also a doozy. We can phase partially into the realm of the dead, becoming like a ghost. As a bonus action, so that will compete with Rage, we can assume a spectral form. While in this form, we have a flying speed of 10 feet, we can hover, and attack rolls have disadvantage against us. We can also move through creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, but we take 1d10 force damage if we end our turn inside a creature or an object. We stay in this form for 10 minutes or until we end it as a bonus action, and then to use it again we must finish a long rest or destroy one of our soul trinkets. So this is another very interesting feature. Gaining a flying speed, even a slow one of 10 feet, is still pretty interesting. And attack rolls having disadvantage against us means that we can use Reckless Attack, and then that will cancel out the advantage enemies get from that. So as long as we're raging and ghost walking, we're a walking tank of phenomenal proportions. And then being able to move through creatures and objects, that is a really, really interesting and useful feature. You can bypass some problems entirely, like literally bypass them, just float right through the wall. At level 14 of Rogue, we get Blind Sense, and as long as we're able to hear, we are aware of the location of any hidden or invisible creature within 10 feet of us. And at level 15 of Rogue, and our capstone for this build, we get Slippery Mind. We gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws. So now that the build is complete, let's take a look at it at level 20. You have 173 HP, an armor class of 20, and that's assuming you haven't found some kind of a magic shield along the way, which, by level 20, I'm going to say you probably would have. We have capped out strength and dexterity scores, a decent constitution, but low soft stats, so we're still pretty vulnerable to magic, but not too vulnerable, because we have proficiency with intelligence and wisdom saving throws, getting a +5 and a +6 in them respectively. We also have a +11 to dex saves and advantage on them. And we have advantage on con saves as long as we have a soul trinket, which we should. There's going to be a lot of death around us with all the damage we can deal. Speaking of damage, we have Rage, which makes us almost completely invulnerable to damage. We resist everything except psychic damage. And then anything that we don't resist, if we take a big hit from, we can come down to Rogue and pick up our Uncanny Dodge and then have that damage. Or if it was an area effect, we can have it already as a matter of course with Evasion. Then we get all of these offensive features. We get Reckless Attack, we get Wails of the Grave, Tokens of the Departed, then we get Ghost Walk. It's a lot of stuff that we can do. We can Rage and Ghost Walk, and then Cunning Action. All on subsequent turns, of course, because they all take bonus actions, but we have incredible offense and mobility, and we can deal a truckload of damage. Our sneak attack at this level is 8d6. Then we can wail from the grave for another 4d6. And assuming that we're attacking something that hasn't moved in combat, surprise attack applies to that as well, dealing an extra 2d6 on top of that. So, yeah, we have a lot of damage potential. We have a lot of damage reduction potential. We're a walking powerhouse. It's a really, really interesting build. So, yeah, that's the build, and I hope you guys have fun with it. I will see you guys next time. Later.